Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Trainz Simulator, Trainz Railroad Simulator. We're on Trainz 2019. It's been a really hot minute since I did a Trainz video. Not that there's no content to go over, just I haven't really felt compelled to do anything in Trainz lately. Till now, that is. So, Jointed Rail has pushed out an update to the Eagle River Railroad, something that is probably fairly well known on this channel. If you've been watching my videos for a hot minute, the Eagle River is one of my go-tos for doing any kind of review videos for trains, as well as just kind of my favorite route to fiddle around with. It's got a nice feel to it. It's got a nice look to it. But without a doubt, it was definitely old. The original map that you got on Jointed Rail was very dated. It showed in a lot of different ways. I did do some live stream videos. I was trying to update the route a little bit, give it a nice fresh look to it, as well as playing around with the route design, adding on to it and whatnot. But with school taking over and house problems taking over, I pretty much had to give it up entirely because I just don't have the time to sit and really do a good route build session. But it seems Jointed Rail beat me to the feature anyway. You will have to excuse me today. I am trying to run 2 instances of Trainz at the same time. My computer was not built to do such things. Matter of fact, my computer was not built to do any of this at all. I built it around being able to play train sims just in and of itself, not doing videos or having other screens open or even trying to run 2 different instances. But hopefully it runs smooth enough for it to matter. So, well, smooth enough. Up in my left-hand corner, I'm doing a whole 16 frames per second, which is awful. But, yeah. Now, unfortunately, I didn't find an actual change log for Eagle River. Anybody knows where that would be, I would happily update this video to include it so that we can actually go over step by step what has changed specifically. But for the time being, I didn't find a change log to show what all they had gone over, so I have the original Eagle River pulled up in another instance of Trainz, and I have the new updated version. Now, for anybody that already purchased Eagle River, you do not have to purchase the route again. It'll show up as an update on your download section on Jointed Rail under your profile. So that's awesome. That is something that we really we don't see a lot of anymore with train simulators per se. Train Sim Classic, DTG. We all see they like to push out updates, but they want to make you pay for the update. It's really, really nice to see that those of us that already paid for the route do not have to pay for an update here. So, kudos to Jointed Rail for that. And it's not just an update. There's actually new content included. There's a lot of reworked scenes, a lot of reworked scenery, and a complete and total revamp of Eagle River. And thus far, I've, for the most part, enjoyed a lot of what has been done. To the best of my knowledge, best that I can tell, there's really not been any track work that I could see. Not in the sense that any additional track has been laid or moved around. I haven't played around with this a ton yet. The update is still fairly recent, and I have been extraordinarily busy lately, but to the best that I could tell, just jumping around in different spots on the route and comparing the maps, doesn't look like a lot of track has been really added or moved or anything like that. So it has been almost entirely geared towards the physical scenery and the route look overall. And you can definitely see it just sitting right here in Keene. But there are some things that, as we go on, we'll see, I feel like could have been changed better. Some things added, some things maybe taken away, I don't know. But we'll go over that as the video goes on. So, I did say there is some new included stock. And we have the new included stock right here in front of us. We have a low nose SD24 that has been included. It is very nice, as is typical of jointed rail. It is an excellent model overall. I believe the base model is UP, is what it's listed as. It's an ex-Union Pacific SD24 that they did up for the Eagle River. And it's a really nice addition. It's not the only SD series that we've got. The original route included an SD9, but the SD9, they didn't really do anything. It's a Burlington Northern SD9 that they patched ERSX over I believe over the cab. But this one's really nice. It makes a lot more sense. There is like an SD40 tunnel motor that was done up. It's freeware. It's a really nice model, but it's, truth be told, way too big for this route, just as it sits without really any additions or track work. But this locomotive makes a lot of sense. It pairs up nicely with the SD9. So let's continue on. The hoppers, the wood chip hoppers, have been updated. So the original wood chip hoppers, I'm pretty sure you can see it in one of my really old videos of Eagle River when I first started doing this. The wood chip hoppers, the original wood chip hoppers, the shape would load in, but the actual texture just turned out to be a blur. It was a really light blue blur, and that was all it did. Jointed Rail has updated them, it looks like, and they've included randomized skins. So I placed down 4 here. These are the randomized skins I got: red, yellow, and blue, with associated colors on the logo. And they're very nice. They've got a nice bit of weathering to them, nice bit of fading. They're overall really quite nice. We'll look at it a little bit closer in a minute. We also got a new boxcar. Now, I like this boxcar a little bit more. There was a boxcar included with the original route, but the boxcar that was included had graffiti on it, so putting more than one in a train was kind of painfully noticeable. The graffiti just made it look goofy. So they did give us a new boxcar, Eagle River yellow, old, weathered, patchy paint with random numbers, which is nice, and a new caboose. It is the same caboose model. It's just been it's got a new paint on it. The original route does give us a caboose exactly like this, but it's in Burlington Northern green. Once again, it just didn't really fit. Didn't get a lot of use. I didn't use it a lot, so they redid, and they did up a new skin for the caboose for Eagle River in this kind of grayish color. It's quite nice. So, best I could tell, this is the extent of the new stock. I didn't see anything else that was new per se, so I don't know if any of the original stuff was updated. Don't know if it was changed. Doesn't look changed, but Now, like I said, I didn't find that update log, so I have no idea what all they did to the rolling stock. I just know what's added in from what I could tell, and what you see here has been added in. Now on to the route itself. So as I said earlier, the map didn't really change. We still have the same locations. I don't know why the horn played, but we still have the same locations. We got, you know, Camp B going up the switchbacks here. Of course, Keene, Camp A, Myrtle. I don't know why I always wanted to call it Myrtle Creek. It just made sense, but Myrtle. Nile, Chido, Beaver Cove, and of course we're gonna take a look at each major location, kind of do some comparison with the original route, but so we'll hop on over here to the original route, hop up over to Keene real quick. Now right off the bat, probably the most noticeable thing is the ground textures have been updated entirely. Well, here, you can turn it about the same direction so that you can kind of see. But as you can see, the ground textures have been changed entirely. There's a lot more greenery, more color. It's not so faded, drab, dreary. I don't know what you would say. I don't know what you'd call it, but it's definitely a different color. Another very noticeable thing, the turntable has been updated. So this, as you can see, is the original turntable. It's tiny, and it doesn't really have a lot going on around it. Versus this one, it's a completely different turntable model. It's a little bit longer. It's got this extra track going off here. The entire texture area around it is changed up. Looks a lot better. The walkway here looks like it's been updated. A new walkway. Much nicer. Not that this one looks too wild, truth be told, it didn't look that bad to begin with, but this looks a lot better, without a doubt. The track, the actual track models have been changed. I do believe these are 3D, which seems to be. The original Eagle River, I don't believe is. And, you know, I don't hate it, per se. I don't hate the coloring, but it definitely makes the track look unused. It looks a lot like track you would see out in an unused area that's very sketchy to even think about running a train over. This looks a lot nicer for an active railroad. I'm not too sold on these little side tracks right here. I think they're a little bit too green. They almost look like they're semi-clear. I don't know. I'm not really sold on them. They don't really I don't know, it doesn't quite do it for me. This is a nice upgrade though. Let's back out a little bit here again. Come over here to the engine facilities. Again, the coloring's a little bit different, and it makes certain details kind of pop out a little bit more. The additional ground texturing really makes a difference. Between this and this, it really shows. Really shows the difference in ground texturing. It makes it seem more realistic, I guess. Not really. There's not really a huge change in scenery per se. There are a couple things that look like they've been changed up a little. Maybe I just... Yeah, there's not really a change in scenery. It's pretty much the same stuff. But the ground texturing has been entirely changed up, and it makes a huge difference. As well as a change in the trees. So the trees, the bushes, the undergrowth, a lot of that has been changed, as you can see. That makes a massive difference. These 2D trees here are very, very noticeable, which is something that that was one of the first things I changed, because you can mass change assets and change a lot of these trees over to 3D trees. So that's a very noticeable difference. It's very, very welcome. Very much enjoy the 3D trees. Some of the trees are still there. These kind of tall, scraggly pine trees look like they're still used. Yeah, they are indeed. And then Keene overall just looks a lot more lively, which it may just be the difference in texturing. There are some things that look changed up a little bit. This area out here, notably, has been changed. But I think a lot of the difference in Keene has a lot to do with the difference in ground texture. I think it just makes it look night and day different. It really, really, really makes it pop a lot more. There's a few details that have changed up, some little things added here and there, but for the most part, it looks like a lot of the difference is down here. Huge difference with the texture. Ground paint, call it what you will. But there's Keene. Well, I guess we forgot one area. I think I looked over this. This area hasn't really changed. It's just, again, another change in the ground texture. Yeah, the kind of coal platform. I don't really know what this is back here. This is one of those things that I started to change up in my remake of the map, because it really serves no purpose. And it doesn't look like they really changed anything. I kind of wish they would have done a little bit more back here. I still think that, again, it doesn't really serve a good purpose. Yeah, the loader doesn't load anything. And there's really not a lot going on back here. There's not a lot of detail, not a lot of scenery. It just kind of, it's one of those spots that always stuck out to me on Eagle River. It just kind of, I do wish they had redone this area. I don't think it really fits. Well, let's go up to Camp B. So here's the original Camp B. Here's the updated Camp B. Probably right off the bat, the first thing you'll notice is the tracks have changed and the undergrowth over the tracks have changed. This entire area over here is changed up. Like, that to me is what pops out immediately. This night and day difference. This night and day difference. Again, all of the texturing has changed. All the ground texturing has changed up. I do not like this track spot right here. It just, it doesn't make much sense. It's a change in the ground, in the roadbed for what reason? I don't see the reason behind it. I don't think there's any really anything added in general back here. Nah, not really. Still pretty much the same. They changed a couple of the buildings. This is a different building here. Like a full-blown barn right there. Going up over to here, where the sawdust loader is. Doesn't look like much. There's a pile that's been added here. Again, different ground texturing, the road. Looks like a lot of the road stuff has been updated and changed. Added turns and such. Attached everything. Oh, that's cool. That's been added. Some kind of crane here. So this Camp B. We'll run on up to Camp A. Now, I know I'm skipping a lot of the mainline trackage. Truth be told, we'd be here all day if we tried to go over every little inch of this route. So I'm just trying to go over the major kind of locations along the route. And that gives a pretty good idea on how the rest of the route has been updated to look different. So again, here it looks like a lot of texture changes on the ground. Not a lot of detail change though. Most of the detail looks pretty much the same. A couple assets changed around. Some of the vehicles look a little different. But other than that, doesn't look like a whole lot's been changed up. I feel like it could stand to have, I don't know. I feel like the other camp looks a lot more realistic. This one just looks a little bit bare. Might just be the lack of anything going on around like out here. I feel like it could have been beefed up a little more. But, it's not bad. Not bad at all. That's a little bit different. Camp A. Hop down to Myrtle here. Oops. A few details have been added Obviously the track's been changed. Textures have all been changed. Myrtle overall looks way better. Way better. Now one thing I don't understand is they added a water tower here. Like a steam locomotive water tower. But it's way over here. And granted, they might be playing it off like this yard might have been a little bigger or something, but as it sits, you have a road right here. Just kind of seems like it's a little bit far away from the track, but I can live with it. I might change it up later on. Who knows? We'll see. Another one of those sawdust loading areas. It just overall, it looks way better. Like night and day different better. I do kind of think a little more like undergrowth, maybe some bushes along the track side and the road areas. I feel like that could still help a little bit, kind of populate it a little bit. And I'm a big fan of adding people and characters and whatnot all over maps. It just makes a route seem much more lively. That is something that I'm not seeing has been changed at all so far. It's still pretty dead. Like, there's some cars here and there, but there's really no active roads. There's no movement. There's no people. So that is kind of one complaint that is still there. It was one that I had from the old map. But I do appreciate a lot of the changes in scenery. It does definitely look a lot better. Got a log pile over here. Need to throw around some logging equipment. Like for this to be a logging map, there's not a lot of logging equipment anywhere. This is an active log camp over here, or an active like sawdust farm. Active logging, but there's no loggers, no people. There's not even any tractors or cutters. There's nothing. So stuff like that I feel like should have been an obvious addition, but oh well. Very clearly isn't. But it definitely looks a lot better than the original. Without a doubt. One of the more famous bridges along the route here, where the road and the railroad share the same bridge. I kind of a mixed feeling. I do like the girder style bridge. I think it fits the logging scene a little better. However, the road is... the bridge base itself needed to be wider, I think, to really kind of fit the road. Now, it is nice that the kind of the guardrails here match up the road and everything. I think it fits. I think the look fits overall. Unfortunately, as can be seen, it is most definitely a 2D track. It is not a 3D track. Do not like that all that much, but it's not the hardest thing in the world to change up on Trainz, so whatever. But this has been redone. One of the more famous scenes along this route. And let's continue. Zoom out. Make our way over to Nile. Now, if I remember right, Nile is kind of like a storage track for worn out equipment and whatnot. Or at least that's how they lure it out to be, if I remember right. Huge change in texturing. Some stuff got moved around. Pretty much the same same setup, but stuff got moved around. Like the tower, the base of the water tower over here has got moved. The ground maybe got moved over. I don't know. The details around this little shed here have changed a little bit. This is different. There's more stuff around it. That's about it. Different road. This kind of roadway running down the middle of the track has been added here. Oh, there's a caribou. Or a moose. There's a caribou. Deer. He looks a little funk. Little things like that. Little things like that help make the route look a little more alive. I kind of wish there were more people though. That would make a great scene, a locomotive coming around there. See this looks much better. Much better. It's like a night and day difference. I definitely would have added a little bit more variety to the trees in the mashup, because these yellow bark pines, these yellow wood pines, they stand out like it's very sore thumb. Very noticeable. Another one of those famous scenes along the route. The speed limit drops down to like 10 miles an hour right here. Looks like not much has changed. Just the track. The physical track has changed, but not much else. Oh well. If I remember right, it's something about the bridge area being worked on or something. As far as what the lore goes, I would honestly have to replay that scenario to know what it was, but truth be told, if the speed limit's going to drop down to 10 and they're going to play it off like it's being worked on or something, I would think I would have added some, like, I don't know, some track workers or something around here. Let's boogie on along. Up here to Chido. Chido is an area I played around with a lot, just because I felt like it could be a lot better. There's too many things that just kind of didn't make much sense. So Chido is a gravel loading area. It's got a gravel pit on it for various uses along the railroad. Ground texturing is, again, night and day different. The trailer park looks a little bit different. Got this boat over here. I don't know why the boat is here. There's not really a dock. But there is a boat. This kind of walkway path has been added. Same for over here. Looks like it's got like a little flag stop platform right here. Which makes sense. On my rendition of the route, I started to turn this into a flag stop area, like a train station, for the scenic railroad. Started adding a little bit more over here. So this has always been added in. A lot of detail right here that's been added in, small details and whatnot. Of course, a total change in ground texturing. House. Stuff around this house has been changed. this area has been changed up a little bit. It makes a lot more sense. You have this footbridge here, the walkway, a little cabin over here. That was one of the things that I tried to play around with because it makes no sense whatsoever to have this bridge here and nothing. And of course the quarry itself, which is over here. So we still got our two little dudes here with their tractor doing some digging, but they did add a gravel pile. Really, that's about it. So it still has the same problem that I pointed out when I originally started fiddling around with the route. How'd these guys get here? There's no pathway, there's no roadway, there's nothing. So that's probably something I'll have to go back and fiddle with, because as it says, it just makes no sense for these guys to be here. There's no roadway, no pathway. They don't even have personal vehicles, no four-wheel drive pickups or anything. So it's kind of here. It's like appeared. Bam, there you are. Kind of wish that had changed up, but oh well. Again, changing ground texturing and whatnot, it just looks so much better. And we continue. Right up here, the start of Beaver Cove, where the Beaver Cove Y is. Already tell the scenery looks way different. The trees are much, much denser. Doesn't look as bare. The road's been changed up. They got a little shack added on. That tractor. Some small miscellaneous clutter and such around the area. That kind of fence right there in the middle. All of that has changed. It looks much better. Kind of over here. The gas station, a more modern gas station added on right there. Looks pretty darn good. The roads look so much better. The Beaver Cove sawdust mill. I don't know why that's showing up as a road. Well, because there's a crossing there. There's some wackiness that goes on with that. So here's one of those places where the track layout did change quite a bit-ish. So as you can see here for the sawdust, the sawdust unloading, you got to pull your cars all the way up here, back them into here, and then they unload there and they wrap around right here. Which, nah, okay, but it means you got to split your train up. So you can almost fit two cars here, you can fit a car right there, and then you can fit a car right there. It's a lot of kind of extra that isn't needed, so they moved it. Now it just runs straight back almost up to the water line here, and then it kicks off right there. Makes a little more sense for the space management. they give a little more room to kind of play around with some of the other detail, like the roadway and whatnot. Huge difference. Now that's probably the most noticeable difference in the track layout. I am a little bit sad though. So they kept the little narrow gauge railroad right here, the little kind of connection railroad. This little narrow gauge railroad goes from the sawdust mill here on out to here. Kind of continues, winds its way through here. It's got its own kind of little staging yard area, little shop here. And then goes out here to this boat. It didn't really change anything. The track's the same track. They didn't add any ballast, texture. They didn't really do anything for it. Now it does look like... Nope, they didn't. So this conveyor here even, this conveyor just goes through the ground here. And yet over here, they took the time to put in these little tubes here. Now granted, it's probably a small oversight. It's not a, oh my god, how dare. But it is noticeable. I do wish, you know, they had done something with this little narrow gauge. I mean, I think it's kind of a cool little scene. If you're adept at setting up waypoints and whatnot, you can have a little narrow gauge train running back and forth right here, just as a little scene to go on continuously while you fiddle around with your scenario. It's just kind of something to have in the route to tinker around with for giggles and squiggles. So I wish they had done a little more something with this. I started doing something a little bit with it. Really and truly, proper track bed makes a huge difference too. Get rid of this old dilapidated building. Like even this road here. This road makes no sense at all. It goes nowhere. So I wish they had redone some of this. I think that was kind of a mistake, but oh well. Hop on over to the more I don't want to say more important side, but more usable side. The log unloading area. Beaver Cove. Whoops, I didn't do that. So some of the stuff is pretty much the same. Still got all this right here. But the ground texture and the undergrowth makes it look completely different. Looks like they did away with the scale kind of thing that was up here. Yeah, they did away with the scale. Yeah, oh well. Different road. I don't know that any of that really changed. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, not really. Now this whole area looks very different. So here's the original. And it looks really bare. Like there's, for it to be a major logging operation, there's really not a lot of logs. This looks much better than that. And a lot more going on with these like little dirt roadways and whatnot. much more dense. Just looks hugely different. I like it a lot more. Now, I do kind of wish, so the unloading for these logs, for when you bring your log cars in, you'll back your log cars into here, and the unloading spot is way back here. I kind of wish they'd take this and put it somewhere like up here, so that you can actually make use of this long stretch, or like right up here. Because that's a very long stretch of just unused straight nonsense. So I kind of wish they'd taken that and moved it up here, but it still definitely looks much better. Much more densely populated, much more used. Much more going on. The road, again, changed, going up the hill here. Track's pretty much the same. The road is all different. The railroad crossing has changed. Different setup for the crossing. Looks a lot better. And then Beaver Cove itself. One of those famous starting scenes right there. Passenger train leaving Beaver Cove. Completely different. So a different railroad crossing, actual lighted crossing with arms. There's kind of this little park thing right there where you see the skeleton log car or road sign right there. Different buildings on the harbor off to the left. Looks like most of this is still the same right here. Different texture. There's a fence that's been added where that house is. All the undergrowth has changed. Massive difference. Massive, massive difference. I like this a lot more. I like this little area right here a lot more. It makes a lot more sense for a tourist train stop, because that's what Beaver Cove essentially is. All the way up here, this is more or less for the tourist railroad for when they're operating their passenger sessions. It looks much better. Now I played around a little bit with this downtown section. I haven't gotten to where I would like it to be. The road looks different. Ground textures look different. Really and truly, it's this harbor area that looks a lot better. The town itself, kind of, eh. Yeah, eh. Couple different buildings, like they changed up a couple different buildings. This one is different. The choice in buildings, not so much the problem. The more the problem for me is these alleyways and whatnot that are noticeable from the train are just kind of meh, kind of there. And for this to be a popular passenger stop, there's really not a lot here. So I would have added a little bit more people, more little characters, maybe some restaurants, gift shops, stuff around here in this little town would have made more sense. But the actual harbor area here is changed up just a little bit, not vastly different, but enough to be noticeable. Got a different crane there. Little building added. This has been added. That's been added. I do wish they would have kept the water tower. I liked the water tower better. Instead, they added kind of this little water stand right here. Which, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world, but I like the water tower more. That's just me. That's personal preference. So this has been added. This little area here has changed up a little bit. And then the end of track just kind of ends right there around that corner. And that's really about it. I don't believe there's really anything else to go over. I love the horn. I hadn't gone over the sounds for the locomotive and such. So, right click, hold CTRL, details. We got headlights, cab lights, walkway lights, class lights, windows, cab doors. That looks about it. Now, something I have noticed with the route is they did not change the automatic horn things across the route. So I added horn signs around the route and whatnot, and I thought they played a lot better. It played a full crossing horn and whatnot. They didn't change that up, and for some reason they like to fight with the player keybinds. So like when I try to blow the horn but the train is over one of those horn markers, it'll argue with the system and not play the horn. So I wish they would have gone through and gotten rid of the little horn boards and added actual crossing horns and whatnot. But oh well, what can you do? I don't know if I can really do anything else. You can open the boxcar doors. Nice. And attach an EOT device to the wood chip hoppers. But really and truly, I believe that's about it for us to go over. I like it. I like especially the ground texturing update. Yeah, the ground texturing makes a night and day difference on how this route looks. Between that and the 3D trees added everywhere, it's such a difference. It looks so much better. And then a lot of the minute details here, there, and everywhere across the entire route, the track upgrades, stuff like that, really makes this route look newer. It gives it a nice, fresh, new look. It stands up a lot more against some of the latest and greatest to have come out for Trainz. So I highly, highly, highly recommend checking it out. It is absolutely still one of my favorite routes ever. Hopefully when I get more time, I'll probably end up coming back over this upgrade. I'll probably trash the old upgrade and start anew on this one. Start playing around with it a little bit, adding in what I think would be better. Because I think there's a lot of places that could still definitely be improved. I think the lack of really yard area here at Keene is kind of Like I changed up a lot of this here because I didn't like it. I added a siding here. I played around with the engine servicing facilities and whatnot. Just a lot of stuff like that that I still think could be better. Like even with the stock game or the stock route, the servicing facilities are not really big enough to accommodate all the locomotives that you get with the game. And then of course K&L Trainz has 3 separate steam locomotive packs that go along with this route. They still didn't add in anywhere for those steam locomotives and rolling stock to go. No servicing facilities, no sidings, no storage area, no nothing whatsoever. That is something I feel like could be improved on. Kind of needs to be improved on, considering everybody that plays Trainz probably knows about K&L. Chances are if they like the Eagle River, they're gonna get those packs. I own all 3 of them. I love them. So that's one of the things that this route really, really needs is an area for all of that heritage equipment to go. Now, that being said, I still think it's an absolutely awesome update. It's 100% worth checking out. If you already own the route, it's just a free upgrade to you. You do not have to pay a single penny to get the upgrade. You simply go through, re-download all of the 2019 stuff that has been updated, add it into your Trainz folder, and go from there. If you do not already own the route, then this right here is what you'll be getting. I don't know whether or not they include the old version of the route with the upgraded version of the route, because you know I own both anyway, so it's gonna show up regardless. But if you purchase the route, this is what you're gonna get without a doubt. So I highly, highly recommend checking it out. If you're a fan of logging railroads, if you're a fan of heritage railroads, scenic, steam operations, or just kind of general purpose route, this is an awesome general purpose route, especially if you like to modify and extend, add on. This is an awesome route to do it to. It is worth every penny. So it is available on Jointed Rail's website. As always, I will be putting a link in the description. I highly, 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 highly recommend checking it out. It's easily one of the best route and rolling stock combos available for Trainz ever. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Until next time.